Hey guys, welcome back. So this video we're going to continue comparing the X-T3 footage. Specifically, we're going to dive into the high ISO performance. This time we're going to throw the Canon RP up against the X-T3 since they cost the same. They're both going for $999 for just the body right now. So the RP has a full frame sensor. The X-T3 definitely outperforms the M50, which is an aps-c sensor. So what we're going to do is put it up against the RP. So let's take a look, and we're going to put the Fujifilm X-T3 up right now, let you show you. This is shot at ISO 12,800 at 1080p and 60 frames per second. And then let's go ahead and throw up the Canon EOS RP footage, and this again shot at exactly the same settings with ISO 12,800. We used ND filters to make sure that it's exposed correctly in both of these shots. Check it out, and as you can see, the Canon EOS RP is performing better at high ISO values, and there's a pretty significant difference. The X-T3 is still doing really well. It doesn't, for how high that ISO is, which I don't think anyone would ever use, it looks pretty darn good for being, especially for being an aps-c sensor. And just the fact that we're comparing an aps-c sensor from Fuji to a full-frame sensor from Canon, I mean, that speaks volumes to how good Fuji's aps-c sensor technology really is. So let's take a look next at the photography end of things. Again, we shot this at now ISO 25,600. We held up this leaf and we took a shot trying to have some of the background being bright with the sky there, so that way we can see the noise in some of the darker parts and some of the brighter parts here. And we're going to zoom in to 200% so you can really see the noise here. Let's take a look. This is the Fuji picture, so take a look at the noise that's produced. And look at those patterns there, and then let's switch this over to the Canon EOS RP and look at the noise that's being produced from that sensor. Now to me, it looks a little more even on the photography end of things, where on the video end of things, I think the Canon really produced really clean image, way cleaner images than I thought it was going to at that ISO 12,800. But here at ISO 25,600, we're seeing more noise out of both of them. I do think the Canon has retained a little more sharpness and a little more detail in the leaf. Now, whether that comes down to the lens, the focus of the particular shot, or it's just losing some of that detail because of the high noise, I don't know. So another thing that I want to mention about the features in the Fuji X-T3 versus the features that the Canon EOS RP give you, since they are basically the same exact price, is there are so many more features in the Fuji X-T3. There's the ability to shoot in log, which the Canon EOS RP doesn't have. There's the ability to shoot at 120 frames a second in 1080p, or at all. The EOS RP cannot shoot in 120 frames per second at all. The highest it can shoot at is 60p, which is fine, but you know, even my M50 can shoot at 720p at 120 frames a second. The RP can't even do that. Basically, the RP really, like you would expect it being a full-frame sensor, outperforms the Fuji, the M50 at high ISO performance and having lower noise values. So that's the really big benefit from it. After that, it basically comes down to the features, and there are just so many more things that the Fuji X-T3 is going to do for you for the same price that the EOS RP isn't going to do. Like I said, it has a million different choices. It has the ability to shoot at 120 frames, and you can output it in whatever you want. You could output it at 30p, you could output it at 24p. You have all these types of choices. You have different choices of recording it with log, without log, and then having it shoot out of your HDMI and being able to be recorded by an external recorder in totally different settings. Again, it really comes down to the user interface for me. Fuji, more old school, more physical dials for every single aspect of your camera, where Canon seems to have taken the approach of touchscreens, intuitive menus, more like smartphone technology, so maybe a little bit easier to transfer from what a lot of people are already exposed to versus really getting used to just like a physical camera. So that's the big difference when it comes to the interfaces or using the cameras. I hope that this helped you guys. If you enjoyed this, please go below, subscribe, click that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next video.